Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're taking a look at which states are dragging their feet, or frankly, actively sprinting in the opposite direction, when it comes to LGBTQ+ equality. We'll be judging states based on the State LGBTQ+ Business Climate Index, which scores states across 5 key areas: legal and non-discrimination protections, youth and family support, political and religious attitudes, health access and safety, and work environment and employment. So buckle up, grab your beverage of choice, maybe a stress ball or two, because we're about to dive into the top, or should I say bottom, 10 worst states for LGBTQ+ people. Spoiler alert, it's not looking good for anyone who enjoys a cowboy hat or the dulcet tones of country music. Well, folks, it seems everything really is bigger in Texas, including the rampant discrimination. Texas has the distinct dishonor of being our #1 worst state for LGBTQ+ rights. Texas received abysmal scores in legal and non-discrimination protections, which, let's be honest, tracks with their general everything is legal in Texas, even if it shouldn't be vibe. But it's the political and religious attitudes category where Texas truly outdoes itself. We're talking about a state that's trying to ban drag shows with the same fervor most states reserve for, actual problems. It's almost impressive how consistently terrible Texas manages to be. Coming in at a solid second place in our race to the bottom is Alabama. Bless their hearts, they really put up a good fight, but when it comes to LGBTQ+ rights, Alabama is about as welcoming as a wasp's nest in a children's playground. This state received particularly dismal scores in youth and family support, which is a truly special kind of awful. We're talking about a state that's actively trying to make life harder for LGBTQ+ youth, a group that's already at a higher risk for bullying, depression, and suicide. And if that wasn't bad enough, Alabama also scored terribly in health access and safety, because apparently providing adequate health care for all its citizens is just too much to ask. If you're a member of the LGBTQ+ community, you might want to pack your rainbow flag and head for friendlier shores. Next up on our tour of shame is Kentucky, a state best known for bourbon horses and a shocking disregard for the rights of its LGBTQ+ residents. Kentucky really seems to have missed the memo that progress involves, actually progressing. This state stumbled out of the gate in the work environment and employment category, racking up enough violations to make even the most jaded labor lawyer raise an eyebrow. It seems Kentucky is more concerned with protecting the right to discriminate than the right to work, without fear of being harassed or fired for who you love. Seriously, Kentucky, it's 2025. Discrimination is so last century. Get with the program, or at least get some better writers for your tourism brochures. Chapter 4, Mississippi, Where Equality Goes to Die. Well, if it isn't Mississippi, rounding out the top 4 of our worst of the worst list. Mississippi decided to really lean into the crazy, earning abysmal marks in both health access and safety and political and religious attitudes. We're talking about a state where getting access to proper health care can feel like winning the lottery, and where politicians seem to have sworn an oath to uphold bigotry instead of the Constitution. Look, I'm all for states' rights, but when those rights involve actively harming a significant portion of your population, it might be time to reconsider your priorities. Maybe instead of trying to legislate morality, Mississippi could focus on, improving its literacy rates or fixing its crumbling infrastructure. Chapter 5, Oklahoma. Okay, more like not. Okay-lahoma. Hold on to your hats, folks. because we're heading to Oklahoma, a state that's apparently trying to win the award for most creative ways to discriminate. Oklahoma really dropped the ball, or should I say, lassoed and dragged the ball in the youth and family support category. They seem to have this bizarre idea that LGBTQ plus youth are some kind of contagious disease, rather than, human beings deserving of love and support. And if you thought it couldn't get worse, they doubled down on the terrible in the work environment and employment category. Use those things to attract tourists, not archaic laws designed to make life harder for LGBTQ plus people. Chapter 6. South Dakota, Mount Rushmore to Equality. Up next, we're heading north to South Dakota, a state that's apparently decided that being home to Mount Rushmore is enough of a tourist draw, because they're certainly not relying on their LGBTQ plus inclusivity. South Dakota seems to have missed the memo that discrimination is so last season, earning themselves a failing grade in Legal and Nondiscrimination Protections. And just in case you thought maybe, just maybe, they might redeem themselves in another category, they went ahead and tanked their health access and safety score too. Seriously, South Dakota, it's time to join the 21st century. Your LGBTQ plus residents and the rest of the country are starting to think you're stuck in a time warp, and not the fun kind with dinosaurs. Hold on to your bootstraps, folks, because we're about to delve into the wild world of Tennessee politics, a place where reason goes to die and bigotry thrives like kudzu. Tennessee decided to really make a statement in the political and religious attitudes category, but not the kind of statement that wins you any awards, unless it's the most likely to be sued by the ACLU award. They're basically the poster child for what happens when you let religious extremism dictate public policy. And, because they clearly weren't satisfied with just one abysmal score, they went ahead and bombed the youth and family support category too. Come on, Tennessee, you're better than this. Focus on your music, mountains, and BBQ, and leave the LGBTQ plus community alone. Next up on our parade of horribles is Louisiana, a state that's known for its vibrant culture, delicious food, and a complete disregard for the rights of its LGBTQ plus residents. Louisiana decided to add insult to injury by tanking both the work environment and employment and health access and safety categories. Because apparently, in Louisiana, it's perfectly acceptable to discriminate against someone for being LGBTQ+. And good luck getting health care if you dare to be out and proud. Look, Louisiana, I know you've got a lot going on down there. What with the hurricanes and the alligators and the general sense that anything goes. But discriminating against your LGBTQ+ residents, that's just not cool. Hold your breath, because we're diving into the deep end of South Carolina, a state that seems determined to prove that the South is still lagging behind when it comes to basic human rights. South Carolina decided to make a splash, or should I say a belly flop, in the Legal and Nondiscrimination Protections category. And just in case you thought, maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't be terrible in another category, they went ahead and doubled down on their awfulness in youth and family support. Come on, South Carolina, you've got beautiful beaches, charming cities, and a rich history. Don't let bigotry and discrimination be your legacy. Rounding out our top 10 list of shame is Arkan-saw, a state that's apparently trying to secede from the 21st century. They're like the kid in school who refused to believe in dinosaurs, even when presented with overwhelming evidence. Arkan-saw took a page from the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" playbook. Except in this case, it is very much broken. They managed to score abysmally in both political and religious attitudes and work environment and employment. It's like they looked around at all the progress being made for LGBTQ+ rights and said, nope, Not on our watch. But you know what's not pretty? Discrimination. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 worst states for LGBTQ+ people in the US. It's a sobering reminder that while we've made great strides towards equality, we still have a long way to go. Support organizations like the ACLU and the Human Rights Campaign. Vote for pro-equality candidates. And call out discrimination whenever and wherever you see it. Let us know in the comments which state surprised you the most and why. And remember, the fight for equality is far from over. We'll see you next time.